doing a quick impromptu. I wanted to jump on and say hello before I wrapped up my work day. I thought about you and thought, you know, I need to jump on and just give you some quick tips. My weekend warrior friends. I get it. I've been there. I am a retired weekend warrior, okay? So I want to just tell you a couple of tips and really want to help you understand why you might be a weekend warrior. And trust me, it is a hard habit to break. It's almost like breaking up with coffee or your best friend or however you want to look at it, right? So I'm going to fix my lighting here. It's just kind of blowing me out a little bit, so I guess I need to... I do have a lot of luminizer on. Maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not quite sure. So the reason why a lot of people have issues on the weekends is because it is all about the mindset and the thought process. And just, you know, think about it for a second. When you are upcoming on a weekend, it's one of those things where it is an attention, it gets a lot of your attention, but it's also an obstacle that you face every single weekend. And you get so frustrated because you're like, oh gosh, here we go again. And there's a lot of factors that are involved, and I just want to bring some insight and maybe just create some mindfulness and awareness when it comes around this whole topic. So first of all, you have heard me talk about habit loops and how your brain and body basically comes to expect certain things. So even now, I find myself after years and years and years, especially, you know, of, gosh, when my husband and I, when we were dating, or just the two of us, and we didn't have kids, I mean, the weekends was when we did, you know, we went out and we partied it up and had this awesome time. And, you know, where are we going this weekend? What are we doing? Are we traveling? Are we going to the bars? You know, and that was like our thing, right? So what happens is after a while, it becomes your routine, like a habit loop. Then you will notice that it's like your body tends to crave it. It craves that feeling that you get. So therefore, when you are faced with this every single weekend, the mindset of, well, I'll just start over on Monday comes in. Then you always have somebody there that validates that for you. Okay, so you have to consider, A, when you really want to make change, that it's a lot of it is behavioral and your choices, recognizing and owning some of your truths and realizing that, you know what, is making, is breaking a commitment to myself really worth it? How am I going to feel at the end of this weekend? You know, and a lot of times the weekends involve socializing. Therefore, it's usually wrapped around like eating things that you normally wouldn't and drinking things that you normally wouldn't through the week. So then when the weekend comes, that's when you're like, okay, I just blew it all. Well, it's not necessarily that you blew it all, but the mindset is there. So you feel like, well, I blew it all, so I'm just going to go crazy, and that's it, I'm just going to start over on Monday. Well, then what happens is you do with that every single weekend. And therefore, you are then creating that whole, you're reinforcing the behaviors, is what I'm saying. So when you continue to do this same habit routine, this habit loop is definitely being created. Therefore, it's a hard one to break up with. Because like I said before in my previous lives, your brain loves habits because it's just easier, right? And it's, let's face it, it's fun. You know, going out and all that stuff is fun and entertaining, having people over. Trust me, it's something I struggled with for years. I get it. I understand. However, what's more important to me is feeling good and looking good. Okay? Because that good time is as amazing as it is and all of that, I don't completely avoid them. I mean, it's different now that I'm pregnant, but, you know, I make sure that I have a plan. You know, that I make sure that I, number one, let's say we're entertaining and we have people coming over. I will, you know, tell myself, okay, you can have, let's say, 1 or 2 glasses of wine, but in between, you're going to have your water. And if you're going to have your wine, you know, you should not eat this or that, but you have a little bit more control when you're the entertainer, because you can have control over what foods are and that sort of thing. But this is all about your mindset. It's all about preparing and planning and catching yourself when you say, oh, forget it, whatever, I'll just start over on Monday. Okay? That is like the worst feeling and worst thing that you could ever do for yourself, because you're constantly going to be in that same habit loop, because that's exactly what it is. It's a habit loop that you're caught in, and you'll never get out of it unless you really become more present and really even come up with an emotional totem for yourself. And I've talked to you guys about that before. And emotional totem is something that that you are so attached to that it's nothing can break the deal that you have with it. Meaning, like, it could be a picture of yourself when you just felt your best. You looked your best, and everything about you at that time was incredible. You felt in control, in charge, you felt amazing, and you were just putting out light, and everybody noticed, and you just were just amazing. Or it could be a statement or a saying or a song or your kids or an event that's up and coming, something. So then when these situations come up, there is no negotiating whatsoever. It's just, nope, I am not going to eat A, B, or C, or drink A, B, or C, or hang out with Lucy Lou, because I know when I go out with her, shit goes crazy and we get wild and everything is out the window. And when you have something like a totem pole, pregnancy brain, an emotional totem, it brings you back down to reality. And then you start having a little bit more sense about everything. Like, you know, as much of a good time as this may be, or as delicious as this food might be, or whatever it is that is your weekend warriorness on the weekends, think of what the true reward is that you were after, and think of what the consequences are going to be. You know, are you going to feel like shit for the next few days? Are you going to, you know, be exhausted? You know, and I know for myself, whenever I would, let's say, for example, engage in a night out, it really will show up on my face. And it's not a pretty sight, you know? And I feel it for at least 5 days. I'm tired, exhausted, and it's like, and I remember that too. And that can also be an emotional totem, meaning that it's something that you're like, oh, I'll never do that again, because take a picture of yourself and how nasty you thought you looked, or a video, you know, take a video like, okay, this is how I feel. Make sure you watch this the next time you think that, you know, you want to go out and, you know, do A, B, or C, or be that weekend warrior, okay? So the bottom line is that I want you to know that you're human. We all do it. But you have to really ask yourself, how bad do I really want to change? How, you know, what am I willing to sacrifice? And is this, what I'm doing on the weekends, is it really serving me well? Is this really a part of, you know, is this leading me in the direction towards the purpose of where I want to be in life? Or is this just holding me back? Is this just something that I'm just caught up in and I really need to make this change? You have to really evaluate and be your own best advocate, because trust me, there's always going to be somebody whispering in your ear that says, oh, you'll be fine, just start tomorrow. or you look great, don't worry about it. Just, yeah, you'll get back on track. Don't worry, you'll get back on track. Trust me, there's always going to be somebody there that will validate your excuses. And those people, I'm telling you, you need to keep them at arm's length. Trust me on that. So, all that said, I'm about ready to wrap up my night. I just wanted to give you a couple of those tips. Hopefully some of that hit home for you. But, if not, maybe you'll watch this sometime again and be like, okay, now I get it. Now I know what she was talking about. All that said, I know that you have seen my post about my program. Super excited about it. It's been going fantastic. Just launched my August class yesterday, and everybody is already doing amazing. I was just wrapping up with a few of my orientation calls. And you can also be a part of the wait list for the upcoming class in September. All you have to do is just go to themetabolismrebootacademy.com, and then you'll fill out where it says request a discovery call with Kelly, and it's towards the bottom, and it's just a questionnaire that will put you in line for the waiting list. I already have 15 people, so I thought, you know what, I better get out there and let you guys know this. I know there's a lot of you that are just watching, you just haven't implemented or put the action behind it to reach out to me. But if you want to have any sort of an opportunity to be a part of it, get yourself on the list, because you will have first dibs. Because trust me, even today, I've had 3 people message me about my August program. So it's, the word's getting out, and I'm so excited about that because they're seeing that it's working for people, and it just makes me so happy. So if you would like to, be considered, just fill that form out. There's no obligation at all. It will just get a discovery, I'm like, blah, blah, blah. It's time for Mama to shut things down. It will just hold you a place in line, and we'll just, we'll get a discovery call scheduled, and we'll just talk about it. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching the rebroadcast. Please let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you next time. Bye.